Copyright Clarity, a presentation by Connolly for Introduction to Authoring Tools at NJCU University. The purpose of this presentation is to demystify copyright, fusion. So what is copyright, and why are so many of us confused by the law? To put it simply, copyright is a form of protection. It protects the original works of creators and allows them to make choices on what can be done to their work. Many of these original works for copyright can fall into the following categories: literary works, musical works, dramatic works, pantomimes, choreographic works, pictorial and graphic and sculptural works, motion pictures and other audiovisual, sound recordings, and architectural works. With so many works being protected by this law, many people are fearful of accidentally performing something called copyright infringement. Unfortunately, this fear has caused many educators to stay away from creating lessons that could possibly end up breaking these laws, and therefore, as Hobbes states, students do not learn that copyright is designed to protect both the rights of the owners and the users to promote creativity and innovation, skills necessary in our 21st century classrooms. In general, it is a concern that it is illegal for anyone to do anything with a work created by someone without their permission, but there are some exceptions and limitations to these rights. One major limitation is the doctrine of fair use. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, fair use is a legal doctrine that states portions of copywritten materials may be used without the permission of the copyright owner, provided the use is fair, reasonable, and does not substantially impair the value of the materials and does not curtail the profits reasonably expected by the owner. Therefore, it can be said that fair use will allow educators and students to feel more comfortable using copywritten materials in class. Hobbes states that at the heart of the copyright law, the doctrine of fair use states that people have a right to use copyrighted materials freely, without payment or permission, for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. The most important thing to understand in regards to the policy of fair use will be the four factors. There are four factors that courts will use to determine if a particular use of copywritten work is in fact fair use. The purpose and character of the use, the nature of the work, the amount used, and the effect it will have upon the potential market. There are a few ways you can help yourself to determine if the use of a work will be fair. Hobbes states that fair use is not the kind of concept where there is one right and one wrong answer until the case gets in front of a judge. However, in the meantime, you could try by starting to ask yourself the following four questions. Does it have a nonprofit educational purpose? What kind of material is this? Am I using only a small portion? Will my use deprive the owner of making money? Courts apply the four factors on a case-by-case basis, and one court's interpretation of the factors could easily differ from the others. A buzzword that Hobbes uses throughout her book, Copyright Clarity, is transformativeness. She defines it as when people add value or repurpose copyrighted material to create something new. She goes on to further say that learners can use copyrighted works in creating new materials and distribute their works digitally if they meet the transformativeness standard. We are all guilty of using someone else's ideas to create something for ourselves. Tinkering with a lesson plan for your class that you found online, remixing music, using photos to promote new messages, and reworking audio clips to tell a new story. All these ideas can be used to express new meanings. If permission is not obtained, but the use of the material is found to be reasonable, fair use will allow a student to use the material for educational purposes. However, it might be appropriate to give credit or attribution to the author of the works that have been used. A piece of advice when determining fair use in copyright laws would be to avoid checklists like these. They state specific portions and amounts of what can be used. Hobbes says that the charts can actually distort educators' understanding of the law, and therefore they should be avoided. A second piece of advice would be to always look for the copyright symbol. If a person or student is planning to use any material that was not created by themselves, these guidelines should be followed. If a copyright symbol is not found on the work that is being used, it does not necessarily mean that the work is not protected by copyright laws. With a comfortable understanding of fair use, the advancement of technology, and the ease of being able to share our work, educators need to be less fearful of tapping into media resources. At the same time, administration needs to allow our students to access this information properly and unlock our future. Creating a lesson where students can work in partnerships to access media footage and rework both the audio and visual elements to create a new and powerful message taps into all of our 21st century skills. These lessons are necessary in preparing our students for the working world and can be done if fair use policies are set into place. Remember, before you disregard your next great lesson idea, just use these simple tips. Avoid educator checklists, remember the 4 factors, use reason and judgment, check for transformativeness, and above all else, don't be fearful.